On the 6th of October 2024, Tottenham Hotspur visited the Amex Stadium to play Brighton and Hove Albion. At half-time, Tottenham led their hosts 2-0. By the time the full-time whistle was blown, they had completely squandered their lead. Brighton had scored 3 goals in the space of 20 minutes to rally back and win the match. In doing so, Tottenham became the first team in the competition to lose 10 times in a match where they had held a 2-goal advantage. According to Opta-Joe, they were the first club to hit double figures for this statistic, and at least 3 more than any other side in the competition's history. They signed off their tweet with the word Spursy. While it was momentarily fun to jump in with the lads it's Tottenham, it did get me thinking, just how Spursy are Spurs? Yes, having this unwanted record of bottling 2-goal leads is pretty damning, but Tottenham have been a mainstay of the Premier League since its creation in 1992. If you were to average it out somehow based on a team's longevity in the competition, would a different result emerge? What if you were to include 2-goal leads that became draws as well? Dropping 2 points from a 2-goal lead is after all pretty as well. And because I'm fairly sure that I was dropped on my head as a child, I decided to find out just who were the Premier League's biggest bottle jobs. Or, as an alternate title, who are the most Spursy side in Premier League history? Here's my methodology. To begin with, I scanned every single Premier League fixture between the opening day of the 92-93 season and November 10th, 2024. Using what was available from Sky Sports and Transfermarkt, I looked for fixtures that finished with at least 2 goals scored by both sides, before noting the times that these goals had been scored. If either team had held a 2-goal lead at any point of the match, but then went on to draw or lose at full time, it was added to my bottle matrix. Copyright Root None 2024. Some clarifications on this before I move on. If a team took a 2-goal lead at multiple points in a game, for example 2-0 and then 3-1, but still went on to lose or draw, it would still count as a single instance. The one exception to this is the odd case of Southampton 4 Liverpool 4 on the 29th of May 2023, where both teams held a 2-goal lead at some point during the game, but remarkably still went on to draw. In my books, that's a double bottling. Also, if a team had held a 2-goal lead at any point, say 2-0, then went on to concede 3, but then went on to equalise, it would still count as a bottle jobbing. Even though it doesn't necessarily feel right, they had a 2-goal lead at some point and my pea-brain needs arbitrary rules and structures to work with. Next, I devised a scoring system. I based my thinking on the amount of points lost from a 2-goal leading position. So if a team went on to draw after holding a 2-goal lead, that would equal 2 points and 3 points for a loss. I then added a bonus point system for bigger leads. So for instance, if a team had held a 3-goal lead at any point in the match and then went on to draw, they would be awarded 2 points for the draw and 1 bonus point for having an extra goal lead. Of course, the only side to ever bottle a 4-goal lead in Premier League history were Arsenal in their away visit to St James's Park on the 5th of February 2011. Apologies to any Arsenal fans who may have had some mild PTSD triggered by that previous sentence. With the idea being that more points equals more Spursy, I could have wrapped things up there. But I wanted to take into account a side's longevity in the Premier League, as we can hopefully agree that teams that have played more games in the league are more likely to have a higher score on the Bottle Job Index TM. My initial thought was to divide these scores by the number of total games a club had played in the Premier League, but this doesn't take into account the fact that some teams are more likely to have held a 2-goal lead than others. What I really needed was to know how many times every Premier League team has ever held a 2-goal lead in a game. To do this, I took a sample from a number of seasons for each Premier League club and worked out an average for estimated 2-goal leads over time. While this isn't a 100% accurate method, it would be quicker than going through every single Premier League game ever played and allow me to keep some semblance of my sanity. Data points in place, my final step was to divide the bottle job scores by the estimated 2-goal lead measurement to create a score that I call the Bottle Job Index. At the very bottom of the Bottle Job Index, i.e. the least Spursy sides, we find the 2008 FA Cup winners and points deduction pariahs Portsmouth. Remarkably, Portsmouth have taken a 2-goal lead 47 times in the Premier League, but only dropped points from that position once, a 2-2 draw against Arsenal on the 16th of December 2006. I wonder if Gilberto could have possibly understood how important his 60th minute equaliser would be 20 years later to this dubious research piece. Wigan and Brentford also found themselves on the precipice of 2-goal lead perfection, both drawing just once each from that position, but find themselves further down the table on account of them holding less 2-goal leads in total. But now, on to what you've been waiting for. Who really are the Spursiest side in Premier League history? Who are the Premier League's biggest bottle jobs? Well, on the opposite side of the table, way out in front with a BGI score of 0.474, we find West Bromwich Albion. Despite holding a 2-goal lead around 78 times in the Premier League, West Brom have developed quite a knack for not being able to see them out, drawing 11 times from the position and losing on 4 occasions, making them the most Spursy side in Premier League history. Special shout out as well to second place Southampton, who have bottled 2-goal leads more than any other team in the Premier League, drawing on 18 occasions from the position and losing 7 times. And what of Tottenham, the team that sparked the raging inferno for this totally unnecessary video? Well, turns out they're not actually that Spursy at all. They find themselves around mid-table on the bottle job index, which for some reason feels quite fitting. Spurs can take solace in being part of the most bottled head-to-head. Arsenal have failed to win 4 times after taking a 2-goal lead against Tottenham, but have themselves fought back on 4 occasions against Chelsea. Southampton's woes as part of this video continues, as they too have failed to win on 4 occasions against Leicester after taking a 2-goal lead. So there you have it. Despite losing the most from 2-goal positions, Spurs aren't quite the Spursiest side in Premier League history, and instead, West Bromwich Albion are. Does this mean we have to reassess our use of the word Spursy? Well, that's not for me to decide, but given that Bromwichy or Albion-y doesn't quite have the same ring to it, probably not. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. There's plenty more football nonsense on the channel that, if this is your first Route None video, that you might want to check out after, and hopefully you'll enjoy those too. If you'd like to know the bottle job index of your favourite team, make sure to write it in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you enjoyed the video, like it. That will help support the channel and allow me to continue making new content. Thank you very much once again, and hopefully see you soon.